If you've ever been in full kit LARPing or trying it on and somebody walked in on you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Guys, like and comment. Comment section is literally out of control. Not a whole lot of great things going on there, so try to change it and put some constructive things in there, something related to the video, I don't know. But I won't control you. Do your own thing. I will be disappointed just like your fathers if they are still in your lives. If you are looking to support the channel, the biggest support of the channel right now is Big Daddy Unlimited. Big Daddy Unlimited is like the Costco, the gun world, 99 cents for the first month. After that, price goes up. Is it worth it? Well, if you buy products, yes. If not, no. Of course, we have our other supporters of the channel, such as LEVIATHAN Concealment. A big shout out to them. And of course, Vertex for all your sick bags, gloves, and gear. Discount code Garand, which is actually, I think, 25% off. Pretty bitchin'. Ladies, gentlemen, am I often forgotten, but certainly not by me, Serpa Holsters. Welcome to the channel. I don't recommend Serpa, by the way. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be going back to our roots a little bit, doing a video on battle belts. I've seen a lot of very weird setups out there as I show mine. Mine might be weird depending on what you do. Battle belt setups completely depend on your job or what you want to do with them. If you're a concerned citizen, which is absolutely within your right to have a battle belt, or whether you be military or law enforcement or what have you, your setup is going to change. My video will simply be a launching point to show you what I am currently using in my job and kind of my thought process behind it. Maybe a couple good products that might be beneficial to you with any luck. Now, before we get into it, full disclosure, as far as the companies, I'm not paid by any company whose products I've shown. In fact, I paid for almost all of it, with the exception of the Bison Belt from Ferro Concepts, which was sent to me. In fact, you could say I actually have a conflict of interest, as the company that I very heavily work with, Cigar Gear, makes a battle belt that we developed, but I'll be the first to admit that it is not nearly as good as some of the other ones on the market right now. We will continue to work on it. But with those things being said, let's go ahead and let's get into it. There are many great battle belts out there. When I'm talking about a battle belt, I'm talking about something that has an inner Velcro that goes around in the loops of your belt, and then an outer belt that is typically more rigid with some type of molly on it. The ones that were issued at work are the Ronin. Those are excellent belts, the Ronin Tactics. Definitely recommend those quite a bit. Now, that being said, in my opinion, the best belt currently on the market is from Ferro Concepts. Again, a direct competitor to the product that we have made, but they really knocked it out of the park with the Bison Belt. It is just incredible in my opinion. I've been using it about since they were kind of getting towards the end of prototyping, and I have no bad things to say about it. Now, before we get into my belt setup, let's talk a little bit about the Bison Belt and why you might want it. First off, the biggest thing that I like about it is how thin it is. A lot of battle belts, when you're wearing them, like your waist is like bulging out because there's so much material. It's kind of a consequence of having to have some type of belt that is rigid enough to hold up a gun and to have molly webbing on it and all that type of stuff. But Ferro Concepts has done a really good job of minimizing the amount of bulk, and that starts with the inner belt. The inner belt is a very thin Velcro belt that goes around your pants. I wear this just on my uniform. And then of course, when you need to add the battle belt, you simply wrap it around and then it is on your waist. And now the inner belt is sized for everybody. You have an outer for the large and extra large, and then for mediums and smalls, you have the inside hook right here as I mess up trying to hook it on. So we have that right there. So that is the inner belt of the Bison Belt. Of course, very flexible, doesn't need any rigidity. The rigidity comes from the outer belt from Ferro Concepts, which is made to hold the holster, the magazines, all that type of thing. So we do have laser cut thermoplastic that goes the entirety of the belt, and that keeps it very, very thin. And I think that's perhaps one of the most innovative things that they have used. And again, this isn't new. Ferro Concepts has experimented with this type of tech for a long time. I think that they implemented it in a very good way. They also have an inch of tubular nylon that runs buckle to buckle. They are using Cobra buckles with a D-ring right here. And then of course on the outside, as far as attaching goes, you have molly. So you can simply weave your molly right in. When it comes to the holster, you're of course gonna put the entire holster on there. You're not weaving anything into molly there. But a couple quick notes here. So on mine, we have our D-ring right here. I do have a helo retention lanyard clipped in. I want to be the first to note that it is not helo rated. I'm not sure if they're working on that or anything like that. Just at this moment, it's not rated in that respect. So either you live dangerously and don't live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you might want to wear some type of harness on top of that if you're doing any type of helo work and you need to get yourself retained in, because it is not specifically built for that. Again, that might change in the future. I'm not sure what Ferro Concepts is planning, but as a quick note to you guys, that is important for me to point out. But yes, the quickest review ever of the Ferro Concepts belt. It is, in my opinion, the most incredible battle belt currently on the market, and it is what I have been using and will continue to use until a better product comes along. So, with those things being said, let's get into the actual setup of this belt, why I have it set up the way I do, maybe give you guys some tips or some products that might be useful to you. So to start off with, we do have a Yates helo retention right here, running all the way back. It is attached to a back loop on one of my back pouches. That changes, of course, depending on whether or not I'm changing out equipment. So depending on your job, you might need to be in a helicopter and you might need a helo retention lanyard. Again, if you're not riding on helicopters, you don't need this. It is unnecessary bulk, unnecessary shit that is going to be caught on things. So I don't always have it on, but if it's something that's a part of your job, it might be a good idea to train with it on to get used to it, because you don't want the first time you're wearing it to be the first time you're riding a helicopter and then it's getting caught up in shit and you've never used it and you look like an idiot. And you don't want to look like an idiot in front of Uber Black or whoever you're riding with. That's important. Many different battle belts have the D-rings to hook in the helo retention lanyard. So this certainly is not the only belt that does it. The Ronin Tactics ones are very good about that. So that is my first note there. Now, if you notice, I do keep the front part of my battle belt open on both sides, except for, of course, this tourniquet right here. And the reason for that is I try to keep it as flat as possible up there in case I need to go prone. Going prone is an often overlooked part of battle belts. If you have too much shit out front, it's going to make it more difficult to go prone. For me, it's important to go prone. As such, my belt is configured in such a way that it is easy for me to go prone. Getting to our magazine pouches right here, I do use the S-Tac Kiwis. That's what we have right here, both for the pistol and the rifle mag. They are what I prefer. What it is an outer cloth covering of a Kydex insert. That way it can retain your mags. It kills a lot of noise that comes down with mags rattling around and that type of thing in some of the plastic carriers. And on top of that, allows you to add the camouflage if that's something that's important to your job. Again, job specific. So that is why I'm using the S-Tacs. Now, they do retain fairly well. You're not gonna have anything dumping out or anything like that. I have never had a mag come out of an S-Tac. I'm sure it's happened, but they are fairly good at retaining your magazines. Now, they do fit most magazines out there. Here we have a Glock mag right here for Glock 17. And then, of course, I am right now running the SIG P320 mags as I'm testing out a couple different P320s, and they retain them no problem. If you have a single stack mag, because you haven't advanced to the year 1970, they do make mag pouches that will fit your 1911 types. Looking at you, boomers. So as a quick note on orientation, I do have the pistol mag oriented forward. So I have bullets forward, excuse me. I have bullets forward right here. And that's to make drawing the mag a little bit easier. This is a smoother, quicker magazine draw. I'm sure people will argue with me right now and yell about having it facing the other way. I don't care. Have it facing forward right there. And have your magazine pouches a little bit more forward so they're easier to get to. Now, quick note too, is depending on the type of armor that you're wearing, these might get in the way. So some people use canted magazine pouches, such as this one that's made by T-Rex Arms. They make a very good product. So again, you can use these. The problem that you run into with the canted magazine pouches is they do, of course, reduce the amount of space that you have on the front of your belt, and a lot of people tend to rotate them forward. Then you don't have as much space, and then when you go prone, these are in the way. It's for that reason that I don't use them. However, if you're law enforcement or competition or anything like that, these are an excellent options. They make for a smoother, easier draws. You don't have to cant your wrist quite as much. So these are definitely recommended if going prone isn't a big deal to you. For me it is, and space is a big deal for me as well. I try to keep these fairly lightweight, and that's why I don't have that on this particular rig. Moving back from there, it should be noted that I, of course, have a multi-tool in one of my pistol pouches right now. The question is why? Well, for me, the pistol is a tertiary weapon system, or secondary, whatever the hell you want to call it, and it's not as big of a deal. However, you never know when you need a multi-tool, and I find myself having to go for this a lot more than I have to go for a pistol mag if I need to go for one. So it's for that reason that I typically carry a multi-tool. If I have to swap it out, I can always swap that out, put it in my pack, and throw an extra pistol mag in there. NBD, I keep a multi-tool there because I'm always having to fix shit on the fly. So that definitely works for me. Going to the back here, we do have an S-Tac rifle mag pouch right here. These are excellent, just like the pistol pouches. I'm using a just HK mag right here, but it will fit any AR mag. If you need to fit AK mags or SCAR mags or 7.62 mags, what have you, they have different sizes for different types of mags. It's gonna fit all you guys. They make something for everybody. So just find the type of pouch that's gonna work perfect for you. These do fit the AK-74 mags as well. Not perfect, but they're pretty good. And again, a quick note on orientation. If you notice, I have my mag back, and that means I have bullets facing back. That's because it's right on the 9 o'clock on my hip, right on the side right there. When I'm reaching back, just a natural motion to let my hand go back. It allows me to draw and bring it up. If it was forward, you'd have to cant your hand really fucking weird. Some people like to do that. I typically recommend magazine back if it's right on your hip right there. Now, a lot of people opt to do 2 rifle mags or maybe no pistol mags, and absolutely, it's gonna depend on what you need on your job. How many mags do you need to have on you? And that, of course, corresponds directly to your armor and how many mags you have on you. So if your armor is only carrying 3 mags, for sure, you're gonna have to load up a lot more mags on your belt than you would. So again, it's all dependent on how many mags you have total on you. It's gonna depend on not just the belt, but as well as your armor and other systems that you have on you to carry ammunition. Now from there, in a stark departure from earlier statements that I don't like dump pouches, I have found their merit to be very much so useful in my current position and job. Because of that, I have a very simple Blue Force Gear collapsible magazine pouch. What's cool about it is it compacts nice and small when I don't need it. And then when I do need it or I need it to be nice and compact, I can simply pull down on that. And then I have my nice magazine pouch right here. It's easy to tuck up. It's not that big of a deal to get it out of the way. And it gives me quite a bit of room if I need to do what have you. It's just nice to have an option to throw things in a dump pouch at certain times. And it's for that reason that I now run a dump pouch on almost all my rigs. I just found it to be very useful. Now, a couple things I can change up on my battle belt, depending on what I'm doing. Now, depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I will use the Blue Force Gear Marco, which is a glow stick that is in a nice little dispenser. These are pretty sick, so I use these quite a bit. The Marcos are awesome. Otherwise, I will just use your standard, just loop of 550 with all my Chem 6 on them taped up for night vision use and all that type of stuff. But again, that's going to depend on what you're doing and what you need. Otherwise, I keep this off and keep my belt a little bit more slim because again, the less stuff I can have on here, the better. Moving back from here, I do have this on the back to show you different options as far as what you can mount on the back of your belt. This is from ATS. It is their horizontal mag pouch. I do like it quite a bit for a couple reasons. One, it's all the way at my back. So if I'm prone, I can easily get to a magazine just at the small of my back. Much the same concept of Cry Precision with their horizontal back mag pouches. Again, it's another option, another tool for you. I do tend to run this quite a bit. And what's nice about it is when the mag is not in it, as I pull that mag out, MBD guys, it does collapse down very easily. Because what a lot of people tend to do is a lot of people tend to run a lot of shit on the back of their belt. The problem with that is that's all fine and dandy until you need to get into a Humvee or get into a Striker, whatever the hell it be, or a helicopter seat or something like that, and you have all this shit just bowing out your lower back. That's blowing out your lower back. That's fine and all, right? It's not that big of a deal. It's just uncomfortable while you're on the plane, but it actually can be a big deal because over time of you just kind of sitting at that weird angle, you can get some pretty serious lower back issues. And I know you guys are young and you don't care, but talk to any old guys who wore a shit ton of stuff on their belts and you'll find that a lot of them tend to have lower back issues or lumbar issues or something like that. So I am just looking out for you guys, just as I am looking out for myself. Stay limber, don't fuck up your lower back. And it's for that same reason that I actually don't run a med kit on my belt. So I know that goes against what a lot of people tend to do, and let me explain my position and why I've chosen to do that. I prefer to keep my med kit directly on me, like in my clothing, and not on my belt, because there are many times I take my belt off, but I still might need a med kit depending on what's going on. So I typically keep my med kit in my right cargo pocket, or depending on SOPs of whoever you're working with or your unit, wherever they tell me to put it. Otherwise, if I can't put it into there, I will use a Crow Medical Fanny Pack. Fanny Packs are coming back in style, just like they always have. Thank you, Marine Corps Raiders. You guys have made these stylish. So again, Crow Medical holds 2 tourniquets on either side, with of course all my med kit in the center with a great organizer for it right there. And why I like this is because I can have it on, you know, on my front or my back. Typically I wear it, you know, turned around on my back underneath my battle belt, and then if I need to get into a helicopter or something like that, I can simply rotate it around, because again, it's just a fanny pack, to my front. That way I can sit down comfortably and still have this nice and accessible. Again, or if somebody gets injured, or if I get injured, I can rotate it around to the front and get into it and all that type of stuff. So I do like this quite a bit. I do like the fanny pack. I tend to use it quite a bit. Again, this is something that is dependent on your job and you. I found something that has worked for me. It might not work for everybody, but I do think that the merit of a fanny pack should definitely be noted to a lot of people. I just don't like having my med kit so static and just on my battle belt. And that is the end of my rant right there. Not gonna say anything more when it comes to that. Going back from the back right there, next I have my holster. So I get a lot of questions about holster setup on a battle belt. So let's talk a little bit about it and how I have the setup and all the products that are used. That way you guys can set it up in, I think, a very efficient manner. So to start off with, this is running on a Safariland mid-ride paddle. So that's what this entire thing is right here. This is mid-ride. That's the typical height that I like to have mine at. Many other individuals also run theirs at mid-ride. I don't recommend anything lower. You want to try to keep this as high as possible, but also low enough to clear your armor and other kit that you might have on the side of your plate carrier. So that is the mid-ride. Now, from there, the next piece of product is going to be this. This is a leg strap from T-Rex Arms. The typical keeper that they use, I didn't like very much. I just ended up duct taping mine down because, you know, it just stayed in place a little bit better. And then where that goes is this QLS adapter right here. You can see you have 2 screws here and 1 screw down here. This threads between those, and it keeps this thigh strap retained. That way, when you're drawing, this gun doesn't flip up. The thigh strap keeps it in place. I definitely recommend the thigh strap. Some people have noted chafing. You probably have a little bit too tight, but it is definitely a good thing to have. Now, the QLS adapter is not necessarily needed. I use it because I swap holsters quite a bit depending on the firearm that I'm using. So if you don't need to swap holsters, you can directly attach the holster to the mid-ride. So you don't specifically need the QLS adapter. And again, if you don't need it, you just route the thigh band between the screws on the holster, just like you would with the QLS adapter. But again, the QLS adapter is cool because I can easily pop on different holsters, and then if I'm using a different gun. So I like it quite a bit, and that is why I use the QLS system. Now the holster that I have on here, I get a lot of questions about holsters. For duty holsters, there's nothing better than the Safariland ALS system. Nothing better. It is the best out there. It is what I recommend. It is an automatic locking system. So if we have a Wilson Combat P320 right here, once you insert it in, that is not going anywhere until I hit this release button right here. That allows me to draw it out. You want something that retains your weapon. If anybody's ever ran with just like a Kydex holster, they've probably lost their gun at some point. It sucks. You need retention if you're doing anything serious. Otherwise, you're just LARPing. Or you're more seriously LARPing. Who knows? The only problem with Safariland is their website is fucking awful, and it's impossible to find the right holster that you need. Their holster finder is utter garbage. So if you need to find a holster from Safariland, a couple options. Search eBay, search Optics Planet. It's not the best solution right now, but maybe Safariland will fix it in some time in the future. Who the fuck knows? Now, one other quick note about Safariland holsters for all my interested people out there is the nub mod. So the nub mod is from OTS Defense. Highly recommended. Makes the draw from the ALS that much better. So highly recommended. Definitely check them out. That is what I'm running as far as my holsters are concerned. And again, for my holsters, typically just a little bit forward of my hip. I can still go prone, but a little bit easier to get to and draw if I need to. Again, depending on what type of kit you might have on, you might want to have it situated a little bit differently. Moving up from the holster, we have the tourniquet holder from Soil Eater. Great product, awesome product, love it. Holds it horizontal, so I had a previous one that held it up and down, but always like dig into my side. This is a much better orientation. Of course, you can just rubber band a tourniquet in, but I like having it nice and secure with this particular holder. The more tourniquets, the better, in my opinion. I carry quite a few tourniquets on me, both on the belt, on the Crow medical kit, on my plate carrier itself, and both in my upper left of my combat uniform, and of course another one in my leg pocket on my pants. I don't want to bleed out to death. It's very important to me that I not bleed out to death. It's like one of my goals in life. So tourniquets are going to stop that from happening. So lots of tourniquets, and that's going to help that out quite a bit. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, going back from there, you have the adjustment for your Cobra buckle right here. Just to cinch that down, make sure you can get to it, all that type of stuff. And that is your basic battle belt setup. Now, depending on what you're doing, you might have something different. You might need to add some things, get rid of some things, but you know what? When it comes to belts, don't add too much. You don't need that much weight on there. You probably don't need that much shit on there. Try to keep it as lightweight as possible. Keep it to the bare minimum and be honest with yourself. Integrate it well with your armor or other kit that you have to wear and make it work. The belt, of course, complements anything that you have on. So, you know, configure everything accordingly and be smart about it. Now, here's the thing. As cool as these battle belts look, it's not gonna matter if you don't get training. Training is what's going to separate you from everyone else out there. And there are a ton of great companies out right now that are willing to train you. So get out there and get that training. Tons of great companies. Fieldcraft Survival, great guys. Haley Strategic, my dad. Cogworks, Bear Solutions, so many, Pat McNamara, he wants to eat people, or maybe I'm not sure, he's always amped up. But the point is, there are tons of great companies out there. Go get training from them. That type of knowledge is so vital and so important, and it's going to make you the weapon. The tools matter, but again, the mind is what is most important, so make sure that you are investing in it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Tons of great videos to come. I appreciate you guys so much. I've got nothing else for you. Last thing for you guys. Kindness. Say something nice to somebody else today. Doesn't matter who it is, but be kind. So much of this world is based around I'm right, you're right, whoever, mostly everyone wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. It's important to be nice. It's important to realize that you can be wrong and that your opinion is valuable. That's part of being an adult. Be honest with yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. And let's lift up this world together. And I'm not even talking about this community. I'm talking to everybody else. Regardless of whether or not you disagree with their opinions, they're still human beings with experiences that have made them think a certain way. And it's going to be very hard to understand that without having gone through their life experiences. Have a little compassion, have a little kindness. It'll go a long way, not just healing our community, but many others. And everything that's going on in the world right now. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Final note. If you've made it this far, you know that we're going to talk about Survival Dispatch. Survival Dispatch is a site that you subscribe to, survival information galore. I highly recommend it as a formal survival guy. Definitely get in there and get that survival information. Final note, Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. I love you guys. You have made this channel amazing. Take care of yourselves. I've got nothing else for you.